Salary is the drug they give you when they want you to forget about your dreams. Because it's very easy to stay in that world where somebody is mitigating your risk. You just have to perform certain tasks, do them well for a third of your day, and they will feed you a salary.
Hello, and welcome to the Corporate Slave IT Edition series. Since I've had issues with audio using expensive headsets, I will go ahead with doing it old school. So sometimes simple solutions just works. Yeah, so back to our topic. In my last video, I talked about IT recruiters, and now I will continue with discussing the recruitment process, interview process, and hiring process. So the recruitment process either starts with the company needing a new talent to do a particular project or role, or a replacement of an employee who just left the company. So the process starts with the hiring manager creating a job requisition, or it's commonly called job rec in recruiter terms. So with all the necessary details like job description, job level, salary bracket, and it goes through the approval hierarchy. So usually there's a template already and tools being used like Workday, SAP, Sage, which makes this easy for the hiring manager to create. Then the long wait starts. Now, depending on the urgency or the need, it can either get approved quickly or it can take a couple of months since we're in the pandemic and budget cuts are everywhere. Sometimes it will never see the light of day. Now, once it gets approved, it will route to the recruiters, and then they are now in charge of posting this internally via the company portal or email blasts, or externally through job sites. Or if it's a really complex role, they can go to a third-party recruiter for this one. Now, once it's out, applicants now pour in, and then interviews are scheduled. Now, as an aspiring corporate slave or an existing corporate slave, you will need the vital skill of being good at interviews to be able to land your job. Let's go over through the process of interviews. Depending on the role, there are usually several rounds. So it includes HR recruiter, a technical, and a manager interview. If it's a more senior role, then there's going to be more interviews. Depending on the urgency of the role, the interview process can be as short as a week or as long as a couple of months. In my experience, I think the longest I've had is 6 months. Now, Chris, how do I prepare for the interview? In my career, I think I've gone to more than 200 interviews, and I have a very good acceptance rate. And it's because of the following. First and foremost, do your research. Research about the company, review the job description, and see if it's something that you can do or you are already doing it. And in my experience, I would ask the interviewer's name so I could do research on them on LinkedIn, see how long he has been with the company, look at his posts, and try to find a connection that we can discuss during the interview. So the next thing is to practice, rehearse, memorize. Practice, rehearse, memorize. So practice makes perfect, and that is the case with interviews. So the most famous first question in interviews is, tell me something about yourself. So when they ask you this, they are not asking about your favorite color or if you are into K-pop music. No. What it means is, what can you bring to the table? how is your current experience going to benefit them for the role that they're looking for? And what help can you provide the company? And that is what tell me something about yourself really means for the interviewer. Another famous question is, tell me about your strengths and your weaknesses. So again, this is not what you can do, like if you can run a marathon in less than an hour, or if your weakness is you're into cute dogs. No. So you need to relate your answer by giving examples of what accomplishments you have done well in your current role as your strength. Also, my pro tip is never show weakness or mask it as a strength. So you can always say that my weakness is I tend to be a perfectionist, or I make sure to deliver on time even if it means staying longer hours. Charot. So, well, the next one is, of course, prepare to ask questions. You can say, what I am looking for in a company is diversity that allows me to fail fast, but provide the solution faster, or something like that. Or like, what is expected of me if I land a job? So remember, whoever asks the questions, control the conversation. Now, another thing that I ask usually is how many applicants have been interviewed for the role. This way, I can gauge if I'm the first one, then it's all good. Or if I'm the last, then my chances of getting the role is slim. Unless, of course, I did really good. Since sometimes they just need 2 or 3 candidates that they can choose from which is the strongest or the best fit for the role. Now, my go-to magic question at the end of the interview is, Sir, are you happy with the company in general or the direction the company is headed right now? So that way you can also gauge if the organization or the role is for you. Based on the interviewer's answers, it will help you see or spot red flags. If the interviewer is enthusiastic in answering your questions, or if he just says, meh, so you might want to bail out if it's the latter. So Chris, how do I spot red flags in a company? Well, for one, if you do your research about the company, or ask, I think usually I also ask regarding what's the attrition rate of the company, or what does the career progression looks like. So depending on how they answer, you can get hints of red flag already. Chris, during the interview process, so when is the best time I can ask regarding salary? Now, my answer is it depends on who is currently interviewing you right now. Sometimes it's already posted on the job ad, but you can ask as early as the initial interview. But of course, not as your opening question, but rather late in the interview, since most of the time the initial interview is a recruiter or HR. Okay, never ask about the salary or answer about the salary during the technical interview. Why? Since the interviewer might be a peer, and if you get accepted on the role, it will be very awkward since he knows your salary. And if it's higher than him, you're gonna be in a world of pain. Joking aside, of course, or am I? It's already long and it's getting a little bit boring, but I will just power through. So now, when do I follow up? So my answer, and in my experience, it's after a week from the last interview. If the recruiters do not answer, You by then take it as a hint and do not take it personally. It sucks, but I think in the past years it has gotten better, and now they have a template email that says thank you, but we conclude that your experience is not what we're looking for right now, or somewhere along those lines. So that's life. Remember, closure is better than what ifs. Move on. Now, once you pass the interviews and the recruiters have sent you the job offer and everything looks good and you've signed, agree, you're still not home free. And you need to undergo the following. And most of the time, this has an expiration date, so you need to do it quickly. So number one is a medical exam. Number two is, of course, background check. So they'll do background checks on you. And then, of course, you need to comply with all the government document requirements, NBI, BIR, etc. In background checks, it's always good to have a good relationship with your former boss, so that when they ask for referrals, they put in a good word for you. So remember, karma say B. So in my case, since I've worked with a lot of people, even up to this day, I get asked for referrals. And I always pay it forward by giving excellent reviews to my former employees and colleagues. So pretty much that's it. Now for my next topic, I will be discussing about the fun stuff that corporate slaves do. So these are the team buildings, summer outings, Christmas parties, rewards recognition, bonuses. And as always, I want you to stay safe and healthy. And of course, hit like and subscribe, and see you on the next video.